Okay, welcome back, everybody. So, we are dealing with chapter 6, where we're actually going to be looking at reports. So, there are two types of reports that exist in QuickBooks, okay? And they're categorized based on what you actually are looking for, right? So, one of them is going to be accounting type, and the other one is business management type. Now, of course, with the definition of an accounting type of report, it's basically anything that's in regards to your transactions and that anything that is in regards to your that affects your accounts. Okay, anything that's a business management would be things that help the transactions move along, such as reports on your customers, reports on accounts payable and things like that, like your sales item itself. Like, what are the items that you sell in your store? That's going to be a business management. What prices did you set to pay to have those items sold at your store for? Those things usually help out to make projections, as well as it allows you to kind of look at your business overall and see where you can where you can have room for growth. Okay. Now, of course, we're going to break down and talk about each and every individual. Not We're going to break down what common ones that are going to be often used as an accounting type of report, and as well as looking at a business management report. We're not going to look at all because, like I said, there are infinite amount of reports you can do. Okay, for example, if you have if you have pro, you have just about under 150, where when you have Premier and you have Enterprise or anything above a Pro, you're going to get not only the regular one, but you also get over 150 plus business industry reports, meaning you're going to get reports that are also comparing towards someone who is indirectly related and in the same industry as you. I cannot talk today. Anyways, so with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what are the options when it comes to actually looking at your reports. So here we talked about the cash basis and the accrual basis, right? You can also apply that for looking at reports, because oftentimes when you want to look at a report, sometimes the accrual basis isn't going to give you an accurate measurement of how profitable your actual company is. The cash basis would actually be a more more accurate, because it's actually looking at the flow of cash that's actually flowing into your company and how much money is actually flowing out of your company. It doesn't include things that people owe you, because technically, yes, you may have earned the sale, but did you actually receive cash for it? No. And then, of course, with the underlying statement that if customers can possibly fault on their payments, you can see where I'm going with this. Okay, you can tell that with an accrual type kind of business, you're not actually getting the money that is actually being recorded. Okay, so how cash basis and accrual basis, from what our lesson was in accounting, is cash basis is when you only record your sales when cash is received, and you only record expenses when cash is readily available to spend. Okay, where the accrual basis is you record a transaction, okay, regardless of whether you receive money or not. So the key notion here is you record income when it happens, when you earn the actual sale, when the sale's been complete, or the product has been sold, or the service has been completed, it's been earned. Okay, and then lastly, for our expenses, is going to be when incurred. So the day that it happened. Most indicators are usually when you receive a bill, okay? Because it not only does it let you know when it happened, it also tells you when the task was actually completed. So it doesn't matter whether you paid already or not. Okay, you're still going to record the expense as it happens. So that's the difference between cash and accrual basis. Just a little review there. But the great thing about QuickBooks is how easily you're able to switch from a cash basis to an accrual basis. So we got to take a look at this when we were asked in the very beginning of our interview, when we were looking at when we're looking at our interview, the first thing that they asked us was, are you a cash basis or an accrual basis? And that was something that we had to set a preference for. So in this case, again, because it is a set preference, you can go ahead and go up to the window, and you are able to go to the edit menu and go to your preferences. And then what you're going to actually do is, I believe you click reports. And on company, then you have the option to switch between cash basis or accrual basis. Okay, so in this case, it is defaulted as an accrual basis because actually using QuickBooks, you're better off using it as an accrual basis kind of company when you record your transactions, right? If you are a cash basis, you're very limited to the amount of transactions or the amount of things that you can use QuickBooks for. But for report purposes, this is a very strong strong key right here to be able to toggle between cash and accrual, because cash will actually allow you to look at a more accurate depiction of profitability, whereas an accrual is just a, how you're actually doing based on your sales, whether you received the cash or not. So again, here you could toggle it here at any given time. So if you're in a middle report and you decided I want cash basis, I'm going to click OK. So nothing needs to happen. What it does is it just takes the information and it looks at three things. It looks at your cash and the bills that you paid with cash, and your sales that you actually received from cash. So your cash sales, your cash expenditures, and your actual cash flow. So that is one way you can do it. Another and quick and easy way that I love about reports is that if you go to your reports, let's just pick a random report anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do company. Let's just do company financials just real quick, and I'll show you a quick overview of profit and loss one. You can toggle it right here, cash or accrual. So you can run a report under accrual basis, print it out, then switch right over to cash basis, run the report, print it out, and compare them side by side. So that's the easy toggle between the accruals. So you can actually look at projections right here and there. So here you can look at how much your profitability is using the accrual basis, like look at how successful your sales is, and then you can go, boom, how much actual cash did I actually receive and what's my real profitability. So that's really cool about that. So I'm going to keep it under accrual basis for now. But if you are planning to set a default for a company, just know that by default, right, because we set the company preference that I want my reports to be done in cash, I need to make sure that I do make sure that if I really want everything to be in cash, I set it that way. But if I really want everything to be in accrual and then have the option to choose cash basis, then you definitely want to select accrual, because this one's a preference. Meaning it's a default setting that no matter what you pull up, it's going to pull up as first as an accrual basis. All right. Now, there are a few things I would like to introduce to you. So we have the reports menu bar, and we have, hold on, I'm on the wrong one. We have the reports menu bar, Okay, and we have the report center on your icon bar. So you have it on your menu bar as well. It's a report center, and you also have it on your icon bar. So you'd be able to scroll down and find your reports icon bar. Okay, so here it's going to take you to the report center. As you can see, I'm going to take you a little quick overview of what the report center does. This one is going to be the easiest way to find the report that you're looking for. Because not only do you get a little overview, a little screenshot of it, it also gives you a brief description of what this report is in detail for. So instead of going to the reports menu where you don't really know what you're looking for and you're just looking through them and you're picking them by category and you're saying, oh, okay, report by vendor. Sure, okay, maybe I want to look at my accounts payable, right? That's dealing with my vendor. I don't have a clue what it's going to look like. I don't have a clue what what the details is. It's going to be dealing with your vendor and your accounts payable. In this one, you get a quick overview of what it looks like. So I think using the report center is going to be your best bet and your overall easiest way to just go ahead and select a report that you'd like to see. Now, there are 3 options that you can look to view it, okay? And that's going to be up here in the top right corner. You have a choice to see it like carousel style. Carousel style allows you to literally, like a carousel, you can roll your mouse over them and it's going to show you a little overview of each one and it gives you a little detail of what they are. So that's what's really cool about carousel. Now, if you have a really slow computer or the computer doesn't have a very good capacity, or we call it random access memory, RAM, if your computer is running on a 4 RAM, this is definitely not going to be useful for you because it's going to react a lot slower because as you can see, even on an 8 RAM, it's not smooth. Okay, but if you have a really high quality graphics card or whatever it is, this is going to run really smooth. So as you can imagine, most companies are going to go for a little higher quality of this, especially because QuickBooks itself is already a heavy file. And you need a lot of random access memory in order to complete your transactions on the computer without crashing all the time and without having to wait on it for 20 years to finally open a file. So you can expect that it's not just QuickBooks, it's also your computer as well. And carousel style is meant for more high performance kind of type of computers. Okay? However, you're not limited to just viewing it that way. The second one is going to be known as list view. So just like your above menu list menu bar, you can view it as a list, as in pretty much like each one has its own little column and you select which one you'd like. Okay. Now, for my personal preference, I think the last one, which is going to be the grid view, is the best way to look at stuff. Because not only does it kind of give you the aspect of both carousel and list view, you're viewing them as a list, but you do get an overview of what each report looks like. So I think this is the best of both worlds, and usually it's defaulted settings to be viewed as grid view. Okay, so again, that's how you get to look at how your report center works. On the left panel, okay, this little list right here is pretty much categories that you can find in when you go up to your reports menu, right? You have things such as sales. You have things such as purchases, right? Same thing here as well. You got your sales, you got your purchases. So they're pretty much aligned with each other. However, this one, again, when you select them, it gives you an overview of what you can select out of them, all right? And then at the very top of the menu of, I'm sorry, not the menu bar, of the report center, you have the standard ones, which is basically a list of every single report that exists in QuickBooks. And then you have a memorized tab. So again, we'll talk about what a memorized report looks like. And then we also have favorites, okay? So you can actually have a favorite one that you want to look at. You also can have a recent one. So the recent one I just looked at was indeed my profit and loss. And then so on and so forth, okay? And then you have contributed. Contributed, it's not mentioned in your book, but it exists. That's all you need to know. So usually, most common one that you want to always start off with is going to be your standard, because again, your standard has every single report that is listed in QuickBooks. It has every single one of them, right? So again, how reports work is going to be based on your position. So again, it kind of actually tailors it out for you, saying if your position is sales, then hey, this is you. All right. If your position is purchases or inventory, boom, you got purchases here and you got inventory. So it kind of like separates the categories of the reports for you in this little left panel here. Okay. So that's the report center. Okay. Oh, wrong one. So now the next thing is going to be oh, I hit the wrong one again. There you go. So the next section that we're going to be looking at is actually looking at the difference between accounting reports and the business management reports. So again, this is the position if you're applying for the accountant position, right? The general accountant or the general ledger accountant. This is the one that's going to be the most important things that you need to know, because this is revolving around the financial statements. So in accounting, we learned that there are four financial statements, right? We learned that there's the profit and loss, also known as the income statement. We know that there's a balance sheet. We know that there is a statement of equity, and we know that there's also the statement of cash flows. Okay? In QuickBooks, there's only 3. Okay? And those 3 are your profit and loss, which is also known as your income statement, your balance sheet, and your statement of cash flows. Okay? Now, how QuickBooks does it is that your statement of equity actually is combined with your balance sheet, because again, the balance sheet is reflecting the accounting equation, which is your liability, your assets equal your liabilities plus your equity. So there's no real statement of equity in this kind of sense, and especially when QuickBooks is actually it's actually geared towards smaller businesses and or corporate business. Okay, so you're not really going to have a statement of equity as often, okay? But for corporate, yes, you will definitely have your stockholders' equity. But for smaller businesses, your statement of equity isn't going to be as prevalent as it is in regular accounting, okay? For small businesses, it's just going to be combined together with the balance sheet. So again, let's go ahead and take a look at our first one. So pretty straightforward right off the bat. The first one that we're going to be looking at is going to be our profit and loss. So again, that's actually going to be under company and financials. Okay, same thing up if you prefer to look it up in your menu bar. It is going to be under company and financials. So reports, company and financials. Okay. And the first thing, even if you go ahead and actually go into the report section and go to the company financials, you can see it's separated into 3 sections: your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your statement of cash flows. So you can tell that this is going to be primarily geared towards the actual general accountant of the company. And this is what you normally have to do. So the first thing I'm going to be looking at is look at all the different types of profit and losses there are. Okay, so you can separate them either by you can either have it as a standard one, a detailed one, year to date. You can even look at previous years or even by jobs. You could do profit by loss by class. So we talked about looking at divisions between the company, right? Our company is divided into two locations. We have a San Jose location and a Walnut Creek location. Okay, you could do a profit and loss under unclassified, meaning so everything other than the other ones that we talked about. Okay, other things that you can also do is there anything that has to deal with income or expenses, which is your profit and loss, right? It's going to be every single income minus out or subtract out all of your expenses to get your profit and loss. Okay, so these are all going to pretty much be in detailed or entailed with your profit and loss. So again, most important ones I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the standard one for now. Again, when you go into your reports, the first thing that you always have to do is you always have to toggle the date, because the date is the most important thing that you want to make a report for. You need to make sure, well, which report am I actually looking for what? Like, for example, right? Am I doing a monthly report? If you are, then you need to choose the correct month that you're actually creating the profit and loss for. If your accounting period is every 3 months, right, quarterly, then you want to select the months to be from which quarter. You want it from January to March. You want it from April to June. How do you want your reports to reflect the information that you're looking for? So in this case, I'm actually I think I'm only going to be doing January 1st of 2019 all the way to Every year we do QuickBooks. I just have to keep clicking more and more and more. So so there you go. January 2019, the 31st. And always rule of thumb too is you also need to click that refresh button. Okay. Once you've done that, now we can take a look at every single profit report here. So it's going to give you a list of all of your income, all of your expenses, and it's going to tell you any other income and any other extra stuff that there. So non-operating income or net operating income, not net income. So this is your profit here. So here our company is profiting by $2,774. Not bad for a company, but that's under the accrual method. If I wanted to, I can see how much actually my cash sales are going to be. So once I click that, number one thing you got to do is click that refresh button, and actual is going to be, wow, you only made a $57 profit with cash basis. So look at how huge that projection was. You just went from being a profitable for $3,700 for actual cash. In reality, your only profit is only $57 because everything that the other profits is calculating for is people who owe you money. Now, if you remember, we have Maria Cruz who owes us money. Miranda's Corner, Mr. Bob Mason owes us lots and lots of money. So in this case, this is where you kind of can question, is it preferable that we continue on with this credit, or should we give people more incentive to pay us back so that we can receive the cash that we need? So again, the whole purpose of the accountant is they can create these reports, they can make suggestions for it, but again, these reports are going to be passed along to the actual profit managers, and they're going to make the executive decisions on what is necessary to raise up those profits. So again, looking at a cash versus an accrual basis, you can see how shocking that was. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to accrual basis, and I'm going to go ahead and click refresh. Okay. Now, if you guys actually remember from the accounting class, how long did it take us to actually produce our financial statements? Now, don't forget, we had to do the rest of the accounting cycle before we can actually be able to do our financial statements. We needed to complete a trial balance. We needed to complete our adjustments and adjusted trial balance. And then now we can finally complete our financial statements. So, and then on top of that, when we had to complete our financial statements, we had to pull every single piece of income. Then we got to subtract them out from our cost of goods sold, and then every single operating expense, and then add any extra other income, any non-operating expenses. How long did it take you to create a profit and loss? And in this case, this was done in just one quick click of a button. And that's QuickBooks for you. Okay? Any questions in regards to producing a report or this report in particular?
Nope.
Good. So I'm going to only show you one more because the book, I think they show you all bunch of profit and losses. But again, like I said, if you can simply, be able to go to the reports menu and just click, 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 you can only imagine everything else is rinse and repeat. It's just as simple as a click of a button. So again, we're going to go to company financials, and this time I actually want to see a profit and loss based on class. So let me see where company and nope, it's accounts receivables, company and financials, profit and loss, and I want to actually get the one based on class. So sorry, I think my computer is reacting a little slow. So here, I think QuickBooks crashed on me. Are you guys still there?
I'm here.
Okay, yep, I think QuickBooks decided to give out and crash on me. All right, so that means internet is not doing good here. So I'm going to go ahead and restart my QuickBooks. So again, I didn't make any drastic changes to my QuickBooks file, but again, if that does happen, which here you go, perfect example of it actually happening. Here's the thing. So when the first thing that happens is it's going to ask you, do you want to open the last thing that you open in QuickBooks for? In this case, yes, because I was in the middle of my reports file. So type in your password, Sleater18, and it should actually pull up everything that you were last working on. Well, in this case, I think I set it up as having it start all over from square one, from the home page. Yep. All right, let it fully load. And then, okay, so that's what you can do. So usually if you're on that home page, you can select the first one, or you can actually select, previous ones. So you could go up to about maybe 5 files back. If you open up something from yesterday or the day before that, you're able to open it up that way too. You don't have to do the whole open or file open, portable file. You don't have to do any of that. Usually you can, it's just like Microsoft, you're able to open up your previously opened document. So again, I think I was on my report center, and I think I was looking for my report based on the based on classes. Hold on, I can't find my reports. So I have this. Oh, here, reminders. Should be right above it. There you go. Reports. So again, I'm going to go look into my company and financials, and what I'm looking for in particular is going to be looking at my profit margins based on my classes. So here you go. Profit and loss based on class. Now, if you utilize the report center to, it just dipped out on me again. Here you go. Reports by class. If you are utilizing the report center, what you can do to here is, instead of modifying it once you get to the actual report, what happens is you can actually modify it right here. It will give you a window of, okay, so you want to create a report. What date do you want to use? You can use this fiscal year. In this case, I'm going to use a custom one. Okay, and now it's going to ask you, well, what are you going to select? So I'm going to select this date here, and I'm going to select it to be January 1st all the way to January 31st of 2019. Okay. January 31st, okay? And then you have the option, you can either run the report, you could either have information on it, you could, make it a favorite one. So if I make it a favorite one, it's going to go up into my favorites reports. So if that's something that I like to create all the time, it's up to you. You're going to click run. And then here is the report with the correct dates attached on there. And as you can see, this is my profit margins against my San Jose location and my Walnut Creek. And as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and compare. My San Jose is profitable by $1,800, while my San Jose location, is profitable by $1,800. While my Walnut Creek is actually only $1,000. So here, your profit managers can be like, okay, let's set more marketing into San Jose because it's becoming more profitable. Or maybe to rise my profits for my Walnut Creek, I can do store discounts, or I can have marketing sent out to my customer list and be able to appeal that way, so I can raise my profits that way. Okay, so that's pretty much what most reports can do. They pretty much give you information that you can utilize in order to make more projections or any business planning. So there's my profit and loss. Okay. Same thing with my balance sheet. We can also create that as well. So by going to, I can exit this here, and I'd be able to go to company and financials again. And I'm going to go straight forward and look into a balance sheet. So usually for balance sheets, your best one that you want to utilize is going to be your standard one, just because you can't really do much with a balance sheet. It's pretty straightforward. You're answering one question. Does your assets equal your liabilities and your equity? In this case, as of this year, as of today, okay? Let's see if my assets equal my liabilities. And usually, because QuickBooks, they're already doing the debits and credit system for you, and it also prevents you to even add any debits and credits that are unmatching. You can't really go too wrong with producing faulty statements, okay? Your statements in QuickBooks are going to be probably way more accurate than you can only imagine, okay? So here, boom, my balance sheet is here. I have where's my assets? My total assets, my total current assets. Total assets is going to be $61,244.42, leaving my total liabilities and equity to be same thing. Oh, it's 51, not 61. 51, 244, 42. So here, easy, okay? Now, other things that you can do too is now that after going through the crucial 3 financial statements, I'm not going to go over a statement of cash flows because, again, you can produce it by pressing a button. I don't know how else to tell you and show you because it's the same exact thing, okay? So I'm not going to show you the statement of cash flows, but it does exist and it's under company and financials, okay? And we got to take a look at where it's located, okay? Other 2 things that are very important, especially for accountants, is actually looking at other reports such as your general ledger and your trial balance. So if you guys remember from our accounting class, we talked about in order to complete our financial statements, our number 1 thing to ensure the accuracy of our accounting is that we do complete a trial balance here and there, okay? And that's exactly what we're going to do. So in the reports, okay, it's going to be actually under accounting and taxes. So once we do that, here you go. First thing you see is your trial balance. And of course, a trial balance can be done at any given time, at any given, whenever you feel is necessary to complete. So this one says this is for December of 31st of 2020. So nice. But I'm actually going to change that because I don't want December of 2020. I actually want January because that's when we did most of our transactions. January of 2019. Okay, so January, and it ends in January. So this one's a monthly trial balance that you can complete, and this is very important for a business because this is ultimately, if you are planning to use QuickBooks, even though your company exists, this is the information you're going to need in order to have your opening balances in your account. So here you go, trial balance as of January 31st, 2019. Here you go. We got a total of $59,047.97 in your debits, and we have an equal and opposite amount in your credits. Okay, so again, trial balances, their only real reason why you run this report is to just make sure that you correctly debited your accounts and correctly credited your accounts. Okay, your balance sheet is going to reflect your total assets and your liabilities and equity. Okay, and then we have income reports and your expense reports. So you have pretty much infinite amount of places that you can make your reports for. Okay. One last thing I'm going to do to show you is going to be the general ledger, because again, there are 2 ways you can access your general ledger, right? You can either access your general ledger, or get a quick overview, right? Is going to actually be in your chart of accounts, because look, in your chart of accounts, you have a running balance right here in every single account, except for your expenses and your revenues. And but if you want it in report form, again, you can go to reports at your top of the window. It's going to be under accounting and taxes, and it's going to be under here should be general ledger. General ledger, the second one. Okay. And it's going to give you this message, and you click OK. So basically, it's going to give you a list of every single account and their account balances right then and there. And this is pretty cool because, you know, this one keeps track of every single account that exists, and it shows up all the accounts that even have 0 balances. So that's pretty cool. So one thing about this too is that Yes, you can modify every single report. Okay, and we'll talk about that in the next section when we actually look at a example of a business management one. Okay, so again, those are usually what you're going to be looking forward if you are planning to apply as the general accountant for a company. This is where you can go ahead and find all those reports. And again, simple, rinse and repeat, click of a button. Okay. So the next section I'm going to talk about is going to be business management. So again, as I mentioned before, business management is pretty much every single transaction that involves with either the people that are involved with the transaction. So that means anybody that's your customer, anybody that's your vendor, your employees, other people such as the boss, okay? Yes, all of those types of reports allow you to make even further projections or necessary things that you need in order to make your business either, you can plan to maybe do more marketing for your business and things like that. So one thing I'm going to show you that I really, really want to show you is going to be the customer phone list. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to show you. Now, or I go ahead and go into my actual QuickBooks, right? This one is going to be under pretty straightforward list, okay? Because that's what you're looking for. It's not technically it wouldn't be under customers. Reason being is because under customers, there's everything other that's dealing with transactions wise. But under lists, it's a whole another way of looking at what you can look at. So I'm going to go ahead and flash for you guys what is under list. So you could pretty much look at all your accounts that is listed in your chart of accounts. You can look at your items list, the price values of each item. You can even look at your payroll item list. You can even look at customer phone number, customer contact, same thing with vendors, blah, blah, blah. So in this case, I'm actually going to go look at the customer contact list. So as you can see, look at all this information that is on the customer contact list. A lot of this stuff you may need or you may not need. So again, this report is what I'm going to actually show you how you can actually modify it so you can actually make each report more useful or if you're just looking for a specific portion that can answer your question that you're asking, this is how you do it. So again, we talked about that you can, of course, the customer list. You're going to go up here at the top part. You have customized reports. So what does customized reports actually entail? Well, you have 4 categories or 4 tabs at the very top. You can modify how it looks or displays information. So as I look here, right? My customers list, right? Let's pull this window down real quick. As you can see that this has not only the customer itself, it has their company name, it has the bill to address, it also has their primary contact, and even main phone number. Okay. Now, let's say I want to use this customer contact list to send out promotional mail out to them. Let's say I want to send out a flyer saying, hey, if you come into the store now between this time and this time for our, I don't know, what's the holiday that's coming up this next week? Martin Luther King. We're having a Martin Luther King Day sale this weekend, so exclusive discounts, and I'm only going to send it out to people that are my legitimate, that signed up for my mailing subscription, whatever you want to call it. If I want to do that, I don't need all this information. I don't need their company name. I don't need their main phone number. I mean, because if I'm mailing something out, I don't need a phone number. I'm not going to call them and tell them. So there are a few things that you can do. You can actually modify by selecting content that you actually want to see. So for example, do I need an active status? No, not really. Do I need a balance total? Of course not. And then other information such as, for example, I don't need the customer. Okay. What I do need is a Mr. and Mrs., right? You want to address them. You want their first name and you want their last name to appear. Okay. You don't need a fax number. You don't need a main phone number, but you should put an email address if it's listed on here. So here you go. Email, CC email, main email would be perfect. Oh, I'm sorry, not an email. I think we want a, I guess we want an address, right? So let's look through this. If they have a Twitter account, you can also have that on there too. Primary contact. I guess we only want primary contact. We want a bill to address. I'm going to do it to the first address because I'm not going to spend that much money to have it on both. Actually, there you go. It has bill to right here. So now that I'm just making sure that nothing else is on there, good. That's what I want to see on my actual report. And now as I'm completing it, what you're going to notice is you could see that when I complete this, it will start organizing all your information. Okay, you can also so with that, what I just did right there, not only am I having it shrink up my columns, I can allow it to say which columns I want, delete them, whatever I want, and then I can even select on how I want to see how they're arranged. In this case, it's arranged already in ascending order, in obviously in alphabet. Okay. And then, of course, filters could be like if you have a specific client that you want to do. So you could do all certain people who have these ones. So in this case, I would probably choose the ones that have a billing address. So all to those who have a bill to address. Okay, because we're sending out promotional flyers. You can even change the way this little header even looks like. So if it's something that you want to, again, change it so that it looks appealing and it reflects your company, you can go ahead and change the font and everything that's on here. You can even change the font color, okay? We could do that right here with headers. So here I want to put what does that say? The column titles. No, I want to do, let me see, what is that one called? The report title. I want the report title, okay, I want that, see right now it's blue right now. I want that to actually reflect, I'm going to change the font. The font is fine, but I'm going to change the color to be black, okay, and I'm going to click OK. So now it should change it for me. Yes. There you go. Now it will change it to be black. All right. And then I want the actual company name to be in maroon since our company color is going to be maroon. So I'm going to change it to maroon. All right. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click OK. So once I've done that and I figured out all my stuff, right, I am done with this. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. What you're going to notice is, look, it made all the changes. Okay, I guess it changed everything instead of just my company title. It changed everything to maroon. So everything is in regards to my company color. Okay, and if I like how it looks, and again, see, I have the bill to address, right? I have the primary contact. I have the Mr. and Mrs. So here's all their names. I have exactly what I'm looking for. Once I've created and customized it, one thing you can do is you can always save this and memorize this report. So as I come up to the top, I'm going to select memorize. Memorized reports allow you to create the same exact report in the format that you had it originally, and the next time you pull this information up, the only thing that's going to be different is, for example, if you're doing a profit and loss, it's just going to take the more newer information and plug it in. But it's going to keep the same template going on. So in here, I'm going to put customer contact list. I'm actually going to put customer marketing list. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead. So now the question is, save in memorized reports group. No, it's not a group. And share this report template with others. So this is when you allow, multiple users to have access to this. You can share it. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, if I got that picture sound of approval, what's going to happen is once you've already modified it and whatnot, you can actually find the report in your report center. So let me go back to my report center. Come on. It's above reminders. There you go. Ah, there you go, reports. And it'd be actually located in your memorized reports. Okay, and in this case, it's under. I don't think I categorized it, which that was my mistake. Let me see. It's not customers. Yeah, I didn't categorize it, so that's why I cannot find it. But it's usually, most likely it would be more likely to be under your uncategorized because you didn't. Yeah, there's a customer marketing list. I didn't categorize it, so that's why it is here under my uncategorized list. But here you go. If I were to pull it up, it's going to still retain my maroon color that I made changes to. All right. So that's how you customize a report, memorize it, and find it afterwards, okay? Now, after that, there's a few more things I also want to show you as well. If you can do all of those things, you can also do the above over here. You can always print it out, okay? Of course, you just have to go to the report itself and be able to just click to print the report. You can even send it as a PDF, okay? If you want to be environmental friendly, you can save this document as a PDF and send it along to another person. Not only can you do that, you can even send it through email. So again, it basically will save the file and it will send it to someone that you want to email to. You can even export it as an Excel document. Let's say there's something on here, or maybe you want to modify it a little more, maybe add, tables, etc. Whatever it is that you want to add in here, you can export it to Excel, okay? And then, yes, that's pretty much it that you can do. So pretty cool what you can do with a lot of these things, okay? Last but not least, I'm going to talk about how to deal with graphs and reports. So again, I'm going to go to my standard up here, and I'm going to go to company and financials again. And I'm actually going to scroll down because the first thing I'm going to show you is going to be this right here, which is a the income and expense report graph. So if I double click on this, and it's going to populate and create a nice graph for me. But because I'm in the wrong date, I don't have information on here. So I'm going to have to go back and I need to toggle the date. So in this case, it's going to be for January 1st of 2019. So again, rule of thumb here is you don't type it in. You're going to have to actually click that little calendar button and actually toggle it this way. Okay, and 31st, okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and run the report. So boom, there it is. It's going to automatically create the details into my expenses and my income. As you can see, This is perfect for especially when you're doing presentations, especially if you're the profit manager or if you're even the costing manager, right? This is important because obviously you're going to be looking at all the costs or the expenses it costs for you to do business, and you're going to compare about the actual income that you're actually earning. So in this case, we can see that yes, a lot of the chunk of the expenses here is due to renting. So we need to find some kind of way to be able to earn the money, so then it covers not only the rent, but it covers more than just rent. So and then we can also look here that we have a cost of goods sold is it's actually a good decent chunk because we have inventory. So that's actually good that it's at least what looks like to be 39%. Yeah, about 39%, which it says right here. And then, of course, your utilities is already 4% of that, and your office supplies is another 4%. So it gives you pretty much the information, and all you need to really do is just print it out. Now, the only downside to creating these graphs is that you cannot customize it. You can't customize the colors. Unfortunately, whatever colors that they use, usually it's going to be the, what is it called? The primary colors. Yeah, that one. It's obviously going to use red, blue, green, any contrasting color, yellow. It's going to use the primary colors, okay? So anything that's on that wheel is going to be used. Now, of course, the more expenses you have or the more items you have for whatever reasons that your pie chart needs to have more than the 9 colors, then that's where it starts pulling in random colors. But unfortunately, you're unable to actually change the colors. Whatever color it is, that's it. You can't really change anything there. So that's a downside to the customizing reports is you can only customize, let's say, I only want to see rent expense, then that's the only thing that you can show. And again, if you click on the reports, it's just going to actually just pull up a closer view of the report. As you can see that it's like zooming in. And it shows me right here. Okay, well, this section right here is going to be my total services that I have for my income, right? So 52% of my income is due to services, while the remaining 47% is going to be due to my products that I sell, okay? So that's what's really cool about that. It allows you to do a more closer view of the actual graph itself. But like I said, for customizing, there is no customizing when it comes to this. The only thing that you can do is you can filter them, but as far as like changing colors or getting rid of certain things, you're very limited to what you can do for graphs. Okay. Any questions in regards to QuickBooks graphs or reports? Okay. So again, most of the stuff is just pure reading because, like I said, everything is pretty much rinse and repeat. If you can create one report, you can create every single one of them. Graphs, we already talked about graphs, custom reports, memorized reports. We talked about that already. Sending them, emailing them, printing them, and making them available to Excel. Last section here is going to be quick reports. So we talked about briefly what a quick report is and what it does. So essentially, a quick report gives you a quick summary of pretty much the information. So generally where you would find most quick reports that can happen is going to be primarily your chart of accounts. If you need a quick overview of your information, you just click on the chart of accounts and run a quick report, and it will pull up the information that day. Okay. Now, as remember, we talked about this. Now, our chart of accounts, right? When we get there, there are two things that we know. Our temporary accounts are quick reports, and our permanent accounts have registers. But that doesn't mean our permanent accounts can't be quick reports. They can. You just have to click on them and be able to go down here and run a quick report. So right here, so quick report, boom. I have an overview of my checking account, just like that. And obviously you have to toggle the date in order to find what you're actually looking for. So here you go. Quick report's just going to give you the details on what happened, who did you pay, when did you pay, and what happened here. So that's what a quick report does. And as I said before, mostly all quick reports usually are going to be anything that's dealing with your chart of accounts. So again, but you can't. But for these ones, just remember that you can't double click them, because if you double click them, it's going to open a register instead. If you want a quick report, you actually have to either click on it, select on it, and go down to reports and make it a quick report. Whereas anything that's already an expense, you can go ahead and double click them, because those ones are automatically going to be run as a quick report, because they are temporary accounts and they close out at the end of a given period. So there's no need to have an ongoing balance for income and expenses. They're usually, they get cut off at a given point. Okay. All right. Any questions in regards to reports? That's pretty much all of that in a very, very quick setting, but just because, again, all this stuff, you read through it, you do one, you can do all of them. Okay? Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a few things that I may have not gone over, just because, you know, this is it's a heavy read. But again, if you can do one report, you know, it's just, reports are just dealing with specific questions that you have in regards to about your company. And if it's, and depending on what position, again, that you are in, is basically how you're going to actually maximize the use of QuickBooks. And again, all these things, as long as you continue doing your data entry correctly, like entering all your bills, all your sales, and you do it correctly, and you, if you are using classes, you classify them, then producing these financial reports should be fairly quick and easy. Okay, let me go ahead and skip forward to the questions real quick. Okay, so here we are, going back a couple pages. Okay, let's go ahead and get the review questions out of the way. Question number 1. What are the 2 major types of reports in QuickBooks? C, yes, accounting and business management. That's a pretty easy one. That's the first thing that's mentioned on the first page anyway. So next is question number 2. Okay, when you're using the customized reports button on any report in order to do what? A. Yes. You are going to utilize it to either add or delete columns that are necessary in your categories that you want to display on your report. Obviously, B, you can't change the width of a column. Okay. And then obviously, C, to print the report on blank paper. Really? And then D is memorizing the report for future use. That's not what you use the customize for. That's a separate button. You can actually just memorize it on a separate button. That comes after you've customized it. Okay. Question number 3 says that you cannot create a quick report for. D. Incorrectly posted entries. Yes, of course, you can't do that, right? Again, we talked about quick reports. You generally can actually do them for anybody, anything, but you generally would use it for your chart of accounts. You can go ahead and go in your customer center, and then when you actually are in a specific person's account, you can actually run a quick report on them. Yes, you can. So I did not show you that, but it is definitely something that you can do. So customers, vendors, items are going to be all there except for incorrectly posted entries. However, you can run a discrepancy report, but that's not a quick report. Okay. And then number 4 says, okay, to create a report that lists each of your vendors, okay, along with their addresses and telephone numbers. What report is that one?
A.
A, display the vendor contact list. Yes, of course. Pretty straightforward. Okay. And then lastly, question number 5 says here, in order to analyze the profitability of your company, you should B, create a profit and loss. Exactly, the profit and loss, profitability, same thing. So there you go. Okay, last but not least, any other questions? Actually, I'm going to show you real quick how to do the customer one, the customer quick report, because that one's pretty easy. I showed you how to do it for the accounts and items. So if you go to your customer report, okay, we got to pick someone who actually has a lot of transactions. So let's go ahead and use Bob Mason, since he seems to be our favorite one. Look at all these transactions he has. You can actually go to run report right here. You click that, and that's your quick report right there. There you go. View report. That's the quick report right there. But then again, you're obviously looking at his line of transaction. So I guess you could utilize that as a quick report. But yes, you can do quick reports just like that. All right. All right. Other than that, if you guys don't have any questions in regards to chapter 5 and 6, tomorrow we're going to go over the certification test prep questions. So that's going to be, I'm going to be talking about the certification exam.